Welcome to the Old Mac Gang Podcast, or OMG, the show where longtime Mac and Apple users come together, share practical tips, everyday workflows, and honest takes on Apple technology. I'm Marty Gensius. Tonight we're digging into something that's been sitting in your pocket the whole time. No, we're not digging in your pockets. We're talking about the iPhone and the iPhone microphone. From voice memos to built-in dictation and third-party transcription apps and hardware add-ons, we'll be covering that through the show. And all of these will be in links, so you can always go to the show notes to look for links. Your iPhone is really kind of a capable recording and transcription tool if you know how to use it. So we've got some folks on the panel, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with Bob.
Hi, I'm Bob, and I'm coming to you direct from Tucson, and I'm happy to be here. I am a longtime Macintosh user group member and leader, and part of the Tucson Macintosh users group.
Okay, Peter.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm a 73-year-old Apple enthusiast from Bay Village, Ohio, a former foundryman and educator and current retiree. I enjoy chatting about all the gear and accessories that I use and the so much more I wish I had with this old gang and our audience.
Charlie.
Hi, I'm Charlie Lindahl. I'm in North Houston and retired. I've been doing Mac stuff and Apple stuff since 1984, and my latest toy is a Vision Pro that was gifted me by a friend of mine in Austin. And this is a magical device. It's unbelievable. And I learned how to share on FaceTime my entire environment. If anybody wants to play with that later.
All right. Well, I'm glad you got it. And that I was going to ask if anything's new with folks this week. And I can't say there's anything as exciting in my life as a new Vision Pro. But is there any other considerations or things that people are into? Nope. All right. Well, then let's get into the show. We've got some great folks already in the chat room. Toledo Britt has joined us, and it's good to see him. He did mention, and I'll post that up, the Vision Pro is one heck of a device. Shame it's so expensive. Well, that's what makes it one heck of a device. And we do a podcast called Vision Profiles on Monday nights that live streams at 9:00. So it's a great piece of technology, and it's just a whole different world in terms of Apple. But tonight we're going to talk about something that's a little bit more familiar with folks, and it is primarily focusing on the iPhone and how the iPhone can be used for recording. And we have a few apps. I'm going to put some more probably in the show notes because we're going to talk about some devices along the way that you might want to consider. I always find great ways to spend your money. And let's talk about Whisper Transcription. It is an app that you can put on your phone, and I know folks will be referencing this. It's also available on iPad and on your Mac. So it is a app that will cross all of those. I presume it has sync or cloud sync with it too. And it's a free app, but it has paid different sorts of support in-app purchases. So the in-app purchases give you different statuses: pro lifetime, if you want to go that expensive, or a cheaper version that is kind of monthly and yearly if you want to have an AI assistant with it. It's a pretty cool app, and it is the kind of go-to app for a lot of folks who are doing transcription. And I know a lot of folks who do video and YouTube videos, and they try to have a transcription of it, and they'll use Whisper for that purpose. Another one that is available is Otter. And Otter is an app that can be used, has lots of use cases for it. It's like having an executive assistant. And I don't use Otter, but I'll talk about what I use later on as we get to some of our questions. I do have an Otter account though, and it's pretty effective in terms of doing transcriptions. I work with students who are doing interviews, and years ago when we had to do interviews for research or for practice in my field, which is counseling, what you wound up doing was sitting there, stopping and starting and typing and starting and stopping and typing and starting. Now, students who are doing research with permission of the person they're interviewing can just do this automatically with Otter and other devices. And another app to look at or consider is Voice Recorder Pro. It's a app that is available. It has also in-app purchases. It's available on the phone, the iPad, and also the Apple Watch. So that's pretty cool in terms of being able to control and use that. This is a device that Peter mentioned, or he kind of put in his notes. And as soon as I saw that he had put this in there, it's like, yeah, this is a great little microphone for kind of external recording. Peter, do you want to say anything about that while you're talking, or while it's up?
Well, yeah, I might as well talk about it. It's one that I use particularly at public events, such as candidate forums before elections, which I tend to video record. And I can clip it to the tripod that supports my iPhone camera. And that allows me to hear both the speakers and audience members, that they are intelligible and distinct. So that's why I use it. It's also incredibly small. Packing the cord actually seems like a bigger deal than packing the microphone.
Yeah, it's a Samson, not Samsung. It's a Samson, Samson Go Mic USB microphone for Mac and Windows. I first ran across this when I was working with students and international students, and they wanted to do some recording, but they didn't want to heft around a big, microphone. This has really good, quality for the microphone that it is. It's small. They could, take it back to their home country and use it. And I really enjoy this as a travel mic. Then, if we want to go a little bit more on the expensive route, you might want to look at these. I'll mention these in some of the work that I do. These are the Rode Wireless Go. There's a third generation of them out. They're $200 or $300. Yeah, $200. And what it is it is a device that you attach to your iPhone that kind of acts as the receiver. And then you have two separate lapel type devices that are the recorder. So these, you might see this, on people that are doing remotes. So they're out in an area and they're setting up their own camera and they're doing a live remote running in the background, and in which case they're really kind of nice and effective little microphones. And there's another, DJI does one. They do exceptional wireless microphones too. That link will be in there. And then I found this one, which was just too tempting to not talk about, because when I was looking things up, this is a Mini Mic Pro. It's the original mini microphone for iPhones and Androids. Apparently it has a dongle that you plug into your phone, And from that dongle, you have two external lapel mics that you can use for similar things as the kind of on-the-spot recording with something going on in your background, so you can record two voices anywhere. The price on this is a little hard to believe. The price on it, at least on Amazon, is $19. Now, I can't attest to the quality, but for 20 bucks, it might be worth just trying them. There are also some more mid-ranged versions of these, the DJIs and the Rhodes are, $200, $300 versions of these things. There are mid-range like $99 and $150 ones, but this I found for 20 bucks currently on sale. And we'll have that link in Amazon. We don't get any of the goodies from you purchasing this stuff, so sort of buyer beware with that. So let's move to the panel questions right away. And the first question is, how do you currently use your iPhone for audio recording or dictation? And if you use it, has that workflow evolved in any way for you over time?
Well, I use my iPhone in conjunction with CarPlay, and I use it to send or reply iMessages, texts, or ask the S lady to provide directions to places and venues, along with other S lady queries, or even to make or take phone calls. I know I can use it for a quick voice memo, but have not needed that capacity as yet. But she has certainly gotten better over the years. I have a quick story about that. My wife and I were driving from Tucson to Flagstaff. We're going up the mountains to get to Flagstaff, and I wanted to know, how high it was in Flagstaff. So I asked her, "What's the altitude of Flagstaff?" And her answer was, "I don't know, but don't look down." I tried it again and got another snippy answer. And finally, I thought, oh, I'm asking it wrong. What is the elevation of Flagstaff? And she gave me 7,283 miles of feet or whatever it is. But now she won't get that question wrong. She has adapted.
Huh. That's great. Peter.
Yeah, my recordings using my iPhone or iPad fall into two categories: appointments with physicians and other healthcare providers, and steering meetings of various organizations that I help lead. All of these are situations where I want a very good record that I can review later, and one that captures what I miss when I'm writing notes. Over time, I've probably evolved towards doing it more with my iPad than with my iPhone. I'm often already using my iPad to take notes on, and it's a little less intimidating than a cell phone recorder in the middle of the table. So, and dictation. Dictation is for moments when typing would slow me down or break my train of thought. So driving, walking, first draft brainstorming, and I use onboard Apple dictation in all of those cases. And I agree with Bob. It's always been pretty good since I started using it, but it has gotten better, even better.
Anyway, I use it mostly for in my phone. Now that I have a way of talking to the S lady through my Prius, I do texting and making phone calls. And I've got to tell you, the transcription has been 100% accurate for me. It's been pretty impressive. Anyway, that's my main use for dictation in particular.
Yeah, I use it for have used it for recording, and it's certainly good. I don't disagree with what the panel said already. I've used it to record, of course, with their permission, my doctor's appointments. So if I need a clear explanation, or if someone's not with me and they want to know a little bit more about whatever I'm dealing with the doctor, or if I've got a procedure coming up that I need to have some details with, that's when I use it. That's when it comes in most handy. Most recently, for in-person meetings where I'm chairing the meeting, or if I have to create a summary of minutes, I really hate taking minutes at meetings, but occasionally that gets passed to me. I use a Plaud device, Plaud, and I'll put a link in the show notes for it. Comes in two versions. There's a pin that you can wear on your lapel, and frankly, this is very big in medical communities. And doctors are using these things to record notes for, when they do rounds with patients. They'll use that pin to do it. There's another one that is really quite cool. It snaps on the back of your iPhone because it has MagSafe in it, and it looks sort of like a credit card holder. You've seen those wallets that you can put on the back of phones. It's flat. It's about maybe the thickness or 1.5 times the thickness of a credit card, and it has a button on it, and you can start the recording. And with permission, again, in meetings, I will take recordings of it. And the reason I do that, if I'm online, I mean, people can record using Zoom. They can record the meeting, and that's all fine and dandy. But in person, with Plaud has a lot of tools with it that do some remarkable things. And what I do, because this question was a little bit about workflow, was I'll record the meeting. Plaud will transcribe it for me, and it's exceptional in its transcription. It is really exceptional in its transcription. It will also identify voices in the sense of knowing that this is being generated by different voices, and I'll take that transcript with voice 1, voice 2, voice 1, voice 4. And we'll put it into an LLM, ChatGPT as an example, and we'll drop in a copy of the agenda, and it will do a complete, because it knows the agenda and it knows the conversation, and as we move from one topic to another, it fills that in. It will do a complete minutes of the meeting for me, and it's really quite remarkable. So I like the iPhone microphone for certain quick recordings and things that I can do on the phone. But when I have to combine documents and add things in to get executive summaries and stuff, Plaud seems to be a really good device for that. And again, it's becoming used in a lot of business and medical areas for recording and transcription. Now, with dictation, I have to remember to use it. My wife uses it all the time for dictating iMessages, and I start hammering away with my thumbs and forget that I could simply just use the dictation and speak into it and use it for iMessage. Like Bob, like Charlie, mine is hooked into CarPlay, and when particularly when I'm doing long trips, I'll get text messages or sometimes phone calls. That'll all go through CarPlay, but typically it's text messages, and I can respond to the S lady and send the message back with hands free while I'm driving. Well, my hands are on the wheel; they're not really free, but not using my phone. So safety, convenience, and it's very good in terms of doing that. I need to remember that, hey, I can speak this if I press the little microphone on the phone, and it will do the dictation for me. It'll translate it into text, and then I can send that off without a lot of long typing. Second question, have you used a transcription app on your phone like Whisper, Otter, Rev, and how accurate and useful do you find it? Bob?
Well, I actually have not used any transcription app other than the one built into iOS. So I will yield my time to to Peter.
Thank you. I've done a lot of transcribing over the last 5 or 6 years, and I have used Whisper, Otter, and the integrated software. Apple's built-in transcription is available in voice memos, as you mentioned, and also can be applied to any file via the Shortcuts app. All three are solid for my needs, except in a situation where there's a lot of overlapping dialogue. An advantage Whisper has is that it can be installed to run locally on your computer. And in that case, it has no file size limits, which if you have a very long recording, saves a lot of time because you have it split up into multiple files otherwise. Otter has one advantage that I really treasure over the other two. It does a decent job performing what Marty was talking about. Speaker diarization is what it's called. It means identifying who spoke when. And that's important when you've got something that you've recorded on your iPhone. In the occasions when I'm recording something from a Zoom meeting, that's usually easy because everyone's coming in on their own channel and the identification is a snap.
Charlie.
Yeah, I haven't used, I did briefly look at Otter, but I do a lot of Zooms, and the AI Zoom does fantastic job of transcribing and summarizing. They've been very, very accurate, and in some cases, they actually made me understand the meeting that I just attended more understandable. Let's see. The other thing is, it's not dictation per se, but the live translation feature inside the phone with the AirPods, I haven't tried yet, but I came up with the idea of going to my streaming devices like Roku and so forth, and then pushing, or, doing one of the streaming apps, Netflix or whatever, and playing the alternate language track, and then seeing if the live translation works. And I haven't tried that yet, but I'm going to.
That sounds like a cool idea. Just to test it out. I'd be interested in translation to transcription. If it can translate the language into English and then do the transcription of the in an English form instead of a Spanish form. If I'm using a transcription app, it's going to be probably attached to Plaud. It's just this whole system I'm familiar with. Yeah, it is a paid account. You pay for that app. You pay for, you get free, I think, 300 minutes a month, if I'm correct with that, or 100 minutes a month. And then you can pay for additional minutes as a subscription if you want to do it. But I kind of like working as much as I can off my phone and on my desktop. And Plaud allows me to do that really easy and drag in files into LLMs and things like that. So it has all of these options, summaries, themes, and then constantly adding to what that app can do. It's really pretty amazing. But it's a paid, to get the device and then other things that you use with it costs, but it's exceptional. Last question that we have: when does the built-in iPhone microphone cut it, and when have you reached for a hardware add-on or wished you had?
Surprisingly, I use the internal iPhone microphone to make and take phone calls, both speakerphone and regular. The only times I use external microphones is when I'm using CarPlay or if my AirPods are already in my ears when a call comes in.
So you'd be using when you say you're using CarPlay, you're using actually the speaker in your car. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
The speaker and the microphone the microphone is up around the rear view mirror.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because when you said that, I'm like, Just clarification on it, because I remember if you look on my ceiling of my car, you see the little kind of disc, and you go, "Oh, that's the microphone. That's where that is." Peter.
Yeah, my primary use of additional microphones or microphone is teleconferencing, like what we're doing right now as we are in an eCam teleconference that produces a podcast and videocast. So for this, the built-in microphones work fine whenever I can be in exactly the right spot in a very quiet room, a place that is not overly reverberant or echoey. To sidestep those constraints, I use a Shure MV88. I know Marty has it in the notes. 90+% of the teleconferences I'm in. And it delivers superb quality, even in challenging environments. For the majority of microphone tasks that I think an average user would do, phone calls, FaceTimes, short videos of friends, family, vacation spots, or other treasured memories, Apple's built-in microphones are just great. But when you're doing something, when you're recording something where every word from every person needs to be heard clearly without extraneous noise distractions, added hardware is called for.
My built-in microphone on my Mac usually works well, but as is the case here, I'm using my Logitech webcam, and it seems to be really nice for the sound, except for when I type on the keyboard, of course, which we've noticed. The other thing is that I use my AirPod 3s if I need to worry about noise reduction, and it's not the iPhone mic, but it's a darn good, and it does have the noise reduction, and it's really good on the noise reduction. So don't forget your AirPods.
I had a situation that I found strange, but really kind of neat. I went to see a Todd Rundgren concert. Todd Rundgren was in town. Yeah, bang on the drum all day. And my wife and I have both been big Todd fans for a long time. And I took my iPhone out to film it. Now, in the environment, I couldn't quite hear anything because it was so loud. And I've since learned that I've got these earplugs that I can put in called loops that professional stage people use because of the sound issues, and it reduces they're earplugs that allow enough, you can dial them actually to allow enough sound go in and out. But before that, I started shooting with my iPhone, and I came home and listened to it, and everything was equalized. I could hear the song incredibly clear. Whereas live, I couldn't quite, it was all distortion. So, to Peter's point, it's really remarkable how well these microphones are on the iPhone.
Yeah, your iPhone has 5 microphones in it, and Apple on both your Mac and your iPhone, I don't think they do it on the iPad, use a technique called beamforming, which attempts to figure out what you're trying to record and add and subtract things from each microphone to try to make what they think you're trying to record the clearest. And it usually works very well.
Well, when I want to push the audio, or I want to do something different with the audio, then use the iPhone microphone. I use one of the DJIs or the Rode sets that we already showed, and again, I'll have the links in there. That basically there is a plug that plugs into the bottom of your phone, and sometimes it's like a dongle. I think the DJIs have a dongle that does that connects to this device. Or not, the DJIs connect directly in. It's the Rodes that have a dongle that connect out and hang out of the bottom of your phone. And then you have the lapel mics. So I do a podcast with my son called Gear Up and Go, and it's always a struggle. It's about tech and travel tech. It's always a struggle to try and find times to do that with him because he's been very busy. He also travels. He's traveling less now, which is nice and is different. So we're able to do it a little bit more. But distinctly, when I got those lapel microphones, the intent was to record a show in the car. So I took a suction cup mount and put my iPhone on one of the windows over to the side and then shot the video across both of us while we had the lapel mics on that we're using to feed into the phone. And the reason we did the lapel mics was we wanted to reduce the noise, the extraneous noise that was going on through driving on the highway. And it worked. It worked remarkably well. So that's kind of my introduction to these. I know podcasters that will, instead of taking their heavy microphones with them, they'll take these things, put it in their iPhone, and do the audio and sometimes the video recording with them. So again, we found a pair that's $20 if anybody wants to try that. But the DJIs and the Rhodes, they have like different levels of it. They have really the high-end sort of wireless, and then they have these Go versions, which are cheaper but still great, still great sound that comes from it. So that's kind of my use for add-ons, if I'm going to do any add-on with a phone. Any other comments from the group as a whole? Anything that you'd like to share? A message from Toledo Britt. You might be referring to the voice isolation feature, perhaps, Marty. There are other settings that are plenty good at picking up different types of sound. So you might be referring to the Todd Rundgren concert there. I'd like to say that was the case, but everything was blended really well. It wasn't just the voice, but the music was surprisingly good on the video that I shot, but it was surprisingly bad undiscernible. It's not bad, just indiscernible in person. So, any other comments from the group? Chris couldn't be with us tonight. He will be back, I think, next week. He plans to be back. My thanks go to Bob, Charlie, Peter, Toledo Britt, and other people that have joined us in the chat room. Remember, you can join us live on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. At youtube.com/@oldmacgang. You can also catch the show later at YouTube on that YouTube channel if you want to look at our luscious faces while we do the show. And you can pick up the podcast version of the show the same night, produce it and get it out tonight, and hear all the good stuff. Now, for the links, you can find the links and the information that we have to share in the show notes of both the video podcast, a video version of this, and also the podcast version of it. So just look in the show notes for the links to the different types of devices and hardware that we talked about tonight. That wraps up this episode of the Old Mac Gang podcast. Your iPhone is probably the most capable recording device that you own. Just know to use it, unlock it, and take it out when it's time to do some good recording. Whether you're capturing a lecture or dictating notes on the go, or recording a podcast right from your pocket, the tools are there on your iPhone. Thanks to Bob, Peter, Charlie, and we'll see you next week, Chris, and to the folks in the chat room. That's it for this episode of the Old Mac Gang.